right, we're back on the Ringer NFL show. Ruiz, what did you learn in Week 9 in the NFL?
All right, I'm taking my lesson from the Ravens' 41-10 destruction of this Broncos defense that I think we all hyped up and we all had a lot of reason to believe was legit coming into this game. And I'm not giving up on the idea that they are legit, but I'm all in on this Ravens offense. And I know it's very easy to question their performance in the regular season because we've seen them do this before. We've seen them fall flat on their faces in the playoffs after having these big regular seasons. But this year it's different. I'm declaring that it's different. And that's the lesson I learned on Sunday, because let me just go back to the discussion we had on Friday where we talked about this Broncos defense being good against everything, whether you win under center or you win in shotgun, whether it was early downs, it was late downs. They were good at defending all of those situations. And I assumed that they would be able to make the Ravens play left-handed. They didn't make them play left-handed. And if they did make them play left-handed, the Ravens made like a freaking hook shot with their left hand. It was easy for the Ravens offense to move the ball no matter what they did. They went under center and they ran the ball with Derrick Henry. They went in the gun and they ran the ball with him, or Lamar Jackson got out of the pocket and scrambled, or he made a pass downfield. They got under center and ran play action, and the guys were wide open 20 yards downfield. Every time the CBS broadcast cut downfield after Lamar threw it, all you saw was a Ravens defender with no Broncos around him just running in open grass. It was fun to watch, and I think that multifaceted attack and the fact that the Ravens can do all these different things is going to serve them well in January. We saw last January when they played the Chiefs, the run game disappeared. Todd Monken went away from it immediately when they didn't have success early on. The passing game, the Chiefs just were able to sit on the passing game, and the Ravens didn't really have a plan B. This year they have a plan B, they have a plan C, they have a plan D, and they're doing all this stuff at a high level. Like, let me read off the ranks. These are splits between under center and shotgun. They're third in yards per play under center, first in shotgun. They're second in EPA per play and second in shotgun, third in success rate, fourth in shotgun, fifth in explosive play rate under center, and first in shotgun, third in EPA per pass under center and first in shotgun, third in EPA per run in under center and third in shotgun. Like, they can do everything, and they can do it on early downs and they can do it on late downs. They are top 5 in basically every offensive split you can come up with. And when a team can operate like that on the offensive side of the ball, I just don't know how you slow it down, not even with a great game plan, because they can go do so many different things. The one defense that I think could handle this offense is the Kansas City Chiefs because of the respect I have for Steve Spagnuolo. I think we all have the same level of respect for him. But even in that Week 1 game, Lamar was moving the ball up and down the field. And if Isaiah Likely gets a toe down, they probably go to overtime. And I would assume Baltimore, which had the momentum in the game, wins that game. The only thing separating the Chiefs and Baltimore for me right now are the standings. Obviously, the Chiefs haven't lost the game yet. But in terms of just the quality of performance, there isn't a team close to Baltimore right now, especially on offense. And I know they gave that game away to Cleveland last week, but like, those games happen. And the highs we've seen from this team they outweigh the lows we've seen from this team. And we haven't seen many this year.
I would say this is the first week for me where I left the Ravens game feeling like the issues that I have with this defense is really more about me needing to reframe my expectations, because the way that this offense is playing, I don't think that their baseline that they have to cross is nearly as high as it's been in years past. You know, I made a tweet earlier today that was basically referring to this Ravens offense as like the old Shanahan offense, and I actually think I have that wrong. To me, it feels almost like a marriage between 2018 Sean McVay and 2021 Sean McVay in a lot of ways.
That's a good call.
You know, where they're meaning that when they want to go under center and get into 12 personnel or get into 21 or just put bigger bodies on the field, they have such a versatile menu of runs because of who Derrick Henry is as a downhill runner that you got to see that. I think that when we talk about the Vikings defense, for example, right, and you talk about how much they blitz, the way you beat that team is by getting under center and beating them with downhill runs, right, with runs that you can't defend or that work against any front and any blitz. And that's what today was. It was a lot of outside zone. It was a lot of off tackle runs. You know, you try to maybe get a couple like bend back or counter looks, but for the most part, you know, you were attacking the edge. And I thought they did a great job of neutralizing what Denver likes to do to create explosive defense, right, to create havoc, those TFLs and those sacks, by bringing in condensed splits and using Pat Ricard as a fullback to kind of clean up any trash that does leak through the interior. And then if that didn't work and they found themselves in these high leverage or obvious pass situations, you can now get into that 11, 12 or 10 personnel, you know, kind of spread out look. And now you can allow Lamar Jackson to work the middle of the field with guys like Zay Flowers, with guys like Isaiah Likely. Even with Rashad Bateman not being very productive today, obviously having Patrick Surtain on the other side has a bit of an influence on that. The fact that they are able to change gears in that way means that you have to defend them so specifically in a way that really doesn't exist with many other offenses, right? Because they can run the ball so effectively, because Lamar Jackson can be a participant in the run game. They can set up play action pass, like Steven was saying, both under center and in the gun. And when they are in pure drop back situations, this is some of the best pocket management that we've seen from Lamar Jackson. And that means now that the entire field is open basically from the beginning of the snap until he lets go of the ball, because it's so difficult to cause him any discomfort or to throw a look at him that he's not prepared to find the answer to. And I think that second quarter into the third quarter of them just peppering the middle of the field over and over and over again was a great encapsulation of why Baltimore is such a machine offensively, and why even if this defense has not proven enough to buy everybody's confidence, that I just don't think that threshold is as high because of how well they can move the ball on the other end.
It's such an interesting point, because in the past it's been like the Ravens can win in all these different ways: special teams, defense, offense. And have they transitioned to, well, the offense can kind of just get, their offense might be the most reliable unit of any unit in the NFL. I mean, even again, the games they've lost, the offense still showed up. I don't think any version of this Ravens offense in previous years, even when he was winning MVPs, felt this reliable, this sustainable, to all the points you guys made. I mean, there is no I don't even know what making him play left-handed means anymore, because they have answers to anything you want to do for him. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Lamar's numbers. That tells you how much is just like, another Lamar week. The ball doesn't hit the ground with this team. He's 16 for 19 for 280 yards. To your point, Diante, every time you look up, these aren't dinking and dunking. I mean, he is chucking the ball. He averaged 14.7 yards per reception and threw 3 incompletions, 3 touchdowns. He took 1 sack. He took the 1 sack early, knocked him out of field goal range. And I'm like, all right, maybe the Broncos, that was it. Broncos didn't get another sack the entire game. This was the 3rd best offensive performance by any team all season based on success rate. Again, to Ruiz's initial point, this was going up against the defense that had been playing at a top 5 level all season long. Granted, not against this level of competition, but still, Ravens had 9 possessions, 5 touchdowns, 2 field goals, and 2 punts. So, I think it's a great point that this version of the Ravens, and you're right, they got to do it in the playoffs. I'm sure there are other fans yelling, who cares? Let's see it. I understand, but it does feel different. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and like this offensive performance was powered by the run game for the most part, but you could really feel how helpless Denver was in passing situations when they had to figure out how to rush Lamar Jackson. Like at the beginning, it was just like 3-man rush, and they were giving him time, and he was taking the time, and he was picking them apart. Then they send the blitz, and he just lost a perfect pass to Justice Hill for a touchdown, and you're like, or I don't know if it went for a touchdown, but it went for a deep completion. And you're just like, what do we do against? We blitz him, he beats us. We don't blitz him, he beats us. We only rush 4, he beats us. There's literally nothing you could do against this offense right now. I'm not saying that's going to be the case in January. I think a team like Kansas City still matches up very well with them. But every other team, every other defense, I don't know what they do against these guys. They're unplayable at the moment. There's no plan to stop them. There's no blueprint when they can do everything.
I mean, Steven said, how do you make this team play left-handed? The answer is that left-handed for them is going under center and handing the ball off to Derrick Henry.
Whoops.
And if
that's not going to work.
If that's plan B for the offense that you're facing, chances are you're going to lose, or you're not going to win enough snaps to really make this offense uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, it's well said. They've looked amazing. I thought the Broncos offensively, like early on, they had a chance to keep at least like the first half close there. They had a couple failed 4th down conversions. They had an interception that was tipped. But then what stood out was that like you can't afford that because the Ravens just scored on every possession. They scored on 4 straight offensive possessions. So it's like the margin for error is so slim, where I think if you play this game out 100 times, it's at least closer like in the 3rd quarter than it was today. Most weeks, I think the Broncos offense showed some things early in that game where I was like, all right, they're moving the ball here. But if you're not that good offensively, and if you make even a couple errors, and you don't have a defense that can stop the Ravens, which you guys have pointed out, no one has shown that yet. then you're going to end up looking at the score at the end of the day, and you lose by 31 points to this football team. So yeah, they've got some of the bozo losses on their resume. I think most of those are due to defense and special teams. Again, I think even in those losses, the offense is the thing that they can just rely on week in and week out. All right, let's take a break. We come back. We find out what Diante learned in week 9.